Friends, in just a few moments, we are going to begin the funeral services for Ilene E. Kramer. If you have a cell phone or a pager, I would ask for you to please take a moment to turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And officiating today's services will be Rabbi Paul Cohen and Cantor Susan Lewis Friedman. And as we begin our service, the rabbi will lead the family in the tradition of Kriya.
As Jeremy just shared, before we begin the formal service, there is a ritual that we perform. The ritual is called Kriya. That Hebrew word literally means a tearing. It comes to us from the Bible. The first person that we learn who fulfilled this ritual was Jacob. When he's told by his sons that Joseph has died, he tears the clothing that he was wearing. It's a sign of grief and sadness, but also confusion and anger that we feel when someone that we love is taken from us. The Kriya ribbon, which we use today, also serves as an outward sign to those that we will meet in the coming day that indeed there has been a tear in the fabric of our lives. So without having to say a word, people will see the ribbon and know how to respond accordingly. Leslie, if you repeat the words of the blessing after me, first in Hebrew and then in English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, God, ruler of the universe, the judge of truth.
Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini bal emot lachen samach libi v'yagel kevodi af besari yishkol lavetach ki lo
Ilene Kramer, whom we pay tribute to this afternoon, fulfilled many roles in her life. She was a daughter, a sister, a cousin. She was a wife, a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, and a friend. One of the roles that stands out perhaps most about her life is her life as a mother, as part of a loving family that turned into becoming a grandmother as well. Leslie has asked that I share this poem entitled, What is a Mom? A mom is one of life's best gifts, someone to treasure all life through. She's caring and loving, thoughtful and true, someone who is always a special part of your life, someone who holds a prime place in your heart. She's a mentor, a confidant, and also a friend. Someone on whose love you can depend. Mom always has your best interests at heart. She's someone so dear and so good. She is a blessing, she is a gift. She's a treasure like no other. She's someone that is truly wonderful. Wherever you go and whatever you do, a mom's love will always see you through. A mom is truly invaluable, indispensable, and unforgettable. I wouldn't want anyone but you, and that's why I'm so grateful that life picked you for me. Death has taken our beloved Eileen. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation, in their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Eileen's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For a companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It teaches us of our kinship with the divine, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Psalm 23, the Shepherd's Song.
Adonai rui lo echsan bin ot desher bitseini
In the pamphlet that you received here at the synagogue, the inside cover, you'll find the translation into English of the 23rd Psalm, and I invite you, if you wish, to join together with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Judaism and Jewish life, and Jewish ritual, were very important to Eileen. And there is a custom when we celebrate the beginning of Shabbat at the Friday night table to offer blessings. There's a blessing over the candles that mark the official beginning of Shabbat. There is the Kiddush, the blessing over the Sabbath wine that celebrates the joy that comes with each Sabbath. And of course, there's the Motzi, the blessing over the challah, the special loaf of bread baked in honor of Shabbat that will also cover the rest of the meal. And there's also an opportunity for the people around the table to bless one another, for parents to bless their children, for spouses to bless one another. And the words that are suggested for a husband to bestow upon his wife are words that come from the Hebrew Bible, from the book of Proverbs, from chapter 31. It is known most familiarly as a woman of valor. And I think it really describes Eileen and her connection to family, to Jewish life, to God, to our tradition. A woman of valor who can find. She is more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to the poor. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband sings her praises. Many daughters done valiantly, but you excel them all. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mevorach. God has given, and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief in the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one, Ilene Kramer, who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and your love. As we now say, Yehi shem Adonai mevorach. Blessed be the name of God, now and forever. Amen. I invite you to take these next few moments to call forward the cherished memories that you have of Eileen's life and how her love touched each of your hearts in this moment of silent reflection. like to share another poem in Eileen's honor. It was written by Philip Raskin and is called Kindling the Sabbath Lights. From memory's spring flows a vision tonight, for Mother is kindling and blessing the light. The light of Queen Sabbath, the heavenly flame, that one day in 7 quells hunger and shame. My mother is praying and screening her face, too bashful to gaze at the Sabbath light's grace. And may as the candles of Sabbath divine, the eyes of my daughter in thy law ever shine. Of childhood, fair childhood, the years are long fled. Youth's candles are quenched, my mother has passed. And yet every Friday when twilight arrives, the face of my mother within me revives, a prayer on her lips. O Almighty be blessed for sending us Sabbath, the angel of rest. And some hidden feeling I cannot control, a Sabbath light kindles deep, deep in my soul. Eileen was a woman who loved her family, her people, her God, her tradition. And so it is fitting that we continue this tribute of love with the words of her family. We'll first hear from her daughter, Leslie, and then we'll hear from her grandchildren, Elisa and Avi.
Mom, I wish that this day would never come. I dreaded it, its eventuality and finality. I don't really know where to start except to say that you mean the world to me, and I always will. I love you so much. You and I shared almost 58 years together. And because I'm an only child and you lost your mother at the age of 13, we shared a special, intense kind of bond and closeness. Of course, that's meant that we experienced our share of ups and downs. But through it all, I could always count on you and your love. In fact, I often marveled at your ability to be so affectionate and warm after losing your own mom at such a young age. There are so many thoughts and cherished memories that I wanted to share today, but where should I begin? If asked to describe you, I would say that you were a pillar of strength, an immovable rock. You were determined, persistent, stubborn, yet warm, wise, huggable. I admired you because you overcame so many obstacles during your lifetime, yet remained generous and lovingly devoted to your family. You lost your mother, father, and husband all prematurely. You suffered a stroke, underwent lung cancer surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, respiratory failure, and even had COVID-19. Yet you never gave up because of your love for me, Peter, and your grandchildren. You did what you had to do to defy the odds so that our family could continue to create fond memories and experience new adventures together. Mom, you were amazing. Your daily routine would have tired out even the most energetic among us. Between vest therapy treatments, daily new step, breathing exercises, you were even on your new step with just eight days ago. You squeezed every ounce out of life that you possibly could. And the benefits of your perseverance ran deep. Despite being in a wheelchair, you were able to take us to dinner every Sunday, attend musicals and plays, go shopping, and visit your grandchildren's college campuses for each of their annual parent weekends. You saw your granddaughter graduate from college in person and watched your grandson graduate virtually. We traveled to San Diego, Walt Disney World, Las Vegas, Arizona, and went on cruises to the Caribbean. And what fun memories we created with great stories to tell. You once got thrown from your wheelchair going over a bump, and once had your wheelchair lost on a flight. We once missed a flight and then almost missed our boat. And remember the time your medications got left in a carry-on bag in your condo driveway? Not to mention the time I closed the minivan door on your thumb. And that brings me to another amazing quality of yours. You had a phenomenal sense of humor, even at your own expense. What a good sport you always were. Even when your dog locked you in your basement, you took it in stride and loved to reflect and joke about the experience. Mom, you set an example as a loyal and devoted friend to others. But most importantly, you were my best friend, my confidant. You could read my feelings from the look on my face or the tone of my voice. You were happy for my successes and felt my pain when I was disappointed. You were my rescuer. You made me feel so supported, and you were always willing to rise to the occasion. One thing that truly amazed me was how much joy you derived from giving others pleasure. Anytime you enjoyed a show, a restaurant meal, or a trip, if it was an awesome experience, you couldn't wait to repeat it with those you loved. You were happiest when you were sharing with others, whether gifts or time or even something of your own. How many times did you buy something for yourself and then lend it to me, only for it never to be returned? While shopping was one of your passions, shopping for others was even more so. You were everyone's best personal shopper. You were happiest outfitting your grandchildren, going from store to store, patiently waiting as they tried on numerous sizes and styles. You oohed and ahed at each outfit and then gladly paid for the selections. I marveled at your happiness when witnessing your grandchildren's successes. Even though Schechter did not have an elevator and you had to be carried up the stairs in your wheelchair, you never missed Avi or Lisa's Torah readings. You beamed with pride and congratulated their accomplishments, and you attended almost every one of their band concerts, piano recitals, and baseball games. The only thing that rivaled your love of family was your love of animals, particularly dogs, and you were crazy about your poodles. Snowball, Toffee, Coffee, Tangy, Chili Bean. Your last dog, BJ, was a rescue schnoodle, and you even had 2 cats, Lucky and Maxie. Mom, you were a class act, elegant, beautiful, with impeccable taste, and a gifted artist too. Over the years, you were always needle pointing, knitting, and sometimes drawing. It blew me away that you finished needle pointing Avi and Elise's bar and bat mitzvah kippot with your left hand after your stroke. This speaks once again to your determination and perseverance. You never did anything halfway or second rate. Lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention what a good cook and tremendous baker you were. You created a loving Jewish home and set a beautiful holiday table. You were the glue that kept the extended family together. Sometimes I didn't always take the time to tell you how much I appreciated you, Mom. I took for granted that all moms did the things you did. It wasn't until I found my way in the world that I realized what an amazing inspiration you were. You taught me the importance of love and family, and I'm eternally grateful. Mom, while I am thankful for the many extra innings we were blessed to have together, I'm really finding it difficult to begin this new chapter of my life without you. I will miss you when I have joys that I yearn to share, or I need to see your smile and feel the warmth of your embrace. Rest assured that your memory will always be a blessing to me and to those whose lives you touched. I promise to carry you in my heart forever and let your light shine through my deeds.
Sorry, I know she would hate how long this is taking, so. I have been so fortunate to have had Gugi in my life. She was an example of strength, unconditional love, and resilience. She never lost sight of the small joys life had to offer and was willing to do anything for me, even if it would mess up her perfect hair. When we were on vacation, Avi and I had a tradition of barging into her room very early in the morning in order to beat her in round after round of Old Maid. Even when she couldn't remember that I was in med school, she remembered that I told her how much I liked her white fluffy coat, and for 2 years, every time I talked to her, she would tell me that I needed to take it home. She was elated when I finally took the coat home 3 weeks ago. Gugi was extremely generous when it came to buying clothes, and more than anything, she loved to shop. I think most of us today are probably outfitted in something that she has purchased. Sometimes traits skip generations, and this is definitely one that went straight to me. Gugi spoiled Avi and me beyond belief. She would take us to Nordstrom for lunch, where she would get us our favorite grilled cheese and chips, and would sneak us dessert without my mom knowing. When I was home from college, she would always schedule a nail appointment and would make sure to treat me to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, again, without my mom knowing. Gugi was the epitome of unconditional love and support without judgment. I knew I could always count on her no matter what, and she made sure to be there for every single Torah reading, school event, and piano recital without fail. Whenever I was with her, she made sure that I felt safe and loved, reminding me that if I ever needed a place to go, that I could always come to her. There's a line from the Torah on the Ark at camp that said, "Uvacharta b'chaim," which means choose life. I looked at that every day and thought of Gugi, who in spite of everything, persevered and was able to watch my white coat ceremony in August. She taught me that choosing life is a decision that I have the privilege to make every day. I know she knows how dearly she will be missed, but our memories will continue to bring us joy, and her presence will live on in our hearts.
So I was really lucky to have Gugi in my life for 23 years. And there are a lot of things that I admired about her and the way she lived her life. But most of all was how selfless she was. I know everyone's already heard this now from every single person who spoke, but she was always thinking about other people and specifically her family. She's making it to all our school events, shopping for basically my entire wardrobe, getting multiple birthday cards the same year, having us over for weekly Shabbat dinner, taking us out to eat every week and going on yearly family vacations, and even attending my baseball games. She also showed me what it meant to live a life full of determination and always speaking your mind. But some of the memories that I'm gonna cherish the most are from the last couple of years. During the pandemic, when I was at home from college for a year and a half, I spent countless hours doing puzzles with her at her kitchen table. And each time I came over, she would make sure to tell me that whenever I needed to, I was always welcome to come back. I'm gonna miss her so much. But I know how happy she was to have her entire family. And that's something that's going to be really important for me for the rest of my life.
There is an ancient and very beautiful legend that tells us how God sent a ministering angel to earth to bring back to God the three things which were most nearly divine, objects worthy of a place in heaven. When the angel came to earth, he entered a garden, and he saw there a rose in bloom. And thinking it to be divinely beautiful, he plucked the rose. He next passed a house where, looking into the window, he saw an infant sleeping in a crib. He was struck by the infant's placid, peaceful smile and thought it worthy of a place in heaven. He then flew back and forth over the earth, wondering what the third thing should be. And suddenly, he saw a mother devotedly going about her work, and he took the mother's love to heaven. The legend describes how shortly afterwards the rose withered, losing its beauty. The child awakened from her sleep and no longer peaceful and placid, began to cry. The only thing that remained in heaven as it was on earth was the love of the mother. We know from our experience that the most divine gift we can be privileged to enjoy is the love of our parents, our mothers, their devotion to our welfare and their faithfulness to their families. Eileen was a true Em B'Yisrael, a Jewish mother in the best sense, a woman who always put her family first. Eileen was born and raised in Chicago, the youngest of two daughters born to Ephraim and Bela. Her sister Shirley, of blessed memory, was a bit older. They were a close family, both physically and in other ways. They lived in a three-flat with grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and a cousin Marvin, who was like a brother to her. Marvin would go on to play professional baseball. And though a Cubs fan, Eileen would actually make fried chicken, I'm told, for members of the White Sox that she met through this connection with her cousin Marvin. There were challenges early in Eileen's life too, as you've heard. Bela passed when Eileen was just 13, and it did indeed leave a mark. She was very bright, Eileen was. I'm told that she skipped 2 grades and actually entered college when she was just 16 years old. She began first at the University of Illinois at Navy Pier, and while she was there, she lived with her Uncle Lou, who was a decorator. She would glean from him and develop her own style and flair, which you have already heard about. She would also get her first dog, that poodle named Snowball, creating a lifelong love of poodles. She graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where she majored in education and sociology and minored in psychology and history. A real slouch. She graduated cum laude. She taught first and second grades at the Arnold School and later at Lemoyne. Albert Einstein once wrote, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous." Well, I don't think it was any coincidence that she met Hal, her beloved, at Marshall Fields on State Street. He was a traveling salesman from New York and happened to be there with a friend who knew the friend that Eileen was with, and the rest is history. Eileen married Hal on Thanksgiving Day in 1959 in Rabbi Beanstalk's study at Temple Sholem. They shared some 38 years of life and love. Eileen supported Hal in the founding of the H. Hal Kramer Company, which manufactured decorative, antiqued miniature wall decor. It was sold worldwide. When their daughter Leslie was born, Eileen retired from teaching to become the bookkeeper for the family business and to be able to be at home with Leslie and begin that role, her choicest role as a mother. She was involved at Anshe Emmett's school, the school that Leslie attended, helping in so many ways, especially in fundraising. Jewish life was very important to Eileen, as was being a part of a synagogue. There was Anshe Emmett, Beth Emmett, or here at Temple Jeremiah. She was as active as she could be in each of these areas. She especially enjoyed celebrating Shabbat with the family on Friday nights and celebrating the holidays together. Family was everything to Eileen. She loved cooking, and she was very good at it. Holiday dinners, baking, and you've heard about the needle pointing. I'm told that she actually began the talus bags as soon as Elisa and Avi were born. She knew what was coming. She grew roses, represented here in this chapel, and then when she moved into her apartment, orchids. As Leslie pointed out, things thrived under her care. She loved the botanic garden, as you've heard, doing puzzles, watching movies, attending events. And she really enjoyed, as you've heard, sharing those events that she so enjoyed with friends and family. She was ever present for her grandchildren, as you've heard, and the wheelchair was not an obstacle. It actually allowed her to participate and to continue to be a part of the lives of family and friends. You've heard about her gift giving, and that's what really made her happy, to be able to do for others in every way that she could. She took classes, accounting classes at Loyola, I'm told, and did the bookkeeping at a hair salon that she just loved. She loved the atmosphere, she loved the gossip and the talk and just everything about it, everything about it. Eileen, as you know, spoke her mind. You always knew what she was thinking. And later on, not much of a filter. She liked to call it as it is. And as you might imagine, as you might have experienced, she did not suffer fools gladly. But she was warm and had such a large heart. She was able to bring both of those qualities into play. And she was, as Leslie has said, a class act, always well turned out. She followed politics and current events avidly. People knew not to call her on Sunday mornings as she watched the morning news programs. Her favorite was Face the Nation. She attended the Monday morning current events programs at the North Shore Senior Center regularly. Eileen had impeccable taste in all things both material and things the more spiritual in the people and places that she enjoyed. She was strong and resilient, and not only did she possess a wonderful sense of humor, she was able to laugh at herself as well. She persevered to the very end with amazing strength and grace and style, despite the many setbacks that she had, and especially in these later years. In the end, family was what was most important to her, and so very grateful for the wonderful caregivers who helped her to continue to be with family and to be with friends. We thank you especially. May the memory of Ilene Kramer, a devoted daughter, sister, cousin, aunt, mother, wife, grandmother, and friend, always be for a blessing. And to this let us say, Amen. Amen. I invite you, as you are able, to rise for the memorial prayer, El Malei Rachamim.
Het nishmat chai devora bat Ephraim ubeila shelcha leolama Baal harachamim yastiri habesetir kenafar leolanim Bitzur chayim et nishmata ותנוח בשלום על משכבה
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Ilene Kramer, Chaya Devora, Bat Ephraim Ubela, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and together we say,
Amen.
You may be seated. Friends, this concludes the services here at the synagogue. The interment and burial service will take place at West Lawn Cemetery, located in Norwich. For those of you traveling with us to the cemetery and the funeral procession, please keep the following safety precautions in mind. Please make sure that your bright headlights and your four-way hazard flashers are on at all times. Please be sure to obtain an orange funeral safety sticker for your windshield, and we'll be providing several of the cars in the procession with magnetic orange flags to be placed on top of your car. Please travel as close as safety permits to the car in front of you to avoid any gaps in our procession. For your own safety and security, I would suggest not speaking or texting while driving to the cemetery and the funeral procession, and feel free to use your horn liberally as we make our way through the various intersections. The family will be together for Shiva at the Kramer residence at 1865 Old Willow Road, Unit 231 in Northfield, and they will be together on Saturday from 6 until 8 p.m., Sunday from 12 until 2 p.m., and resuming again Sunday from 5 until 7 p.m. And the family has also requested that any memorial contributions in her memory to either Temple Jeremiah, Pause Chicago, or the American Cancer Society. All of that information is available in the service folder, which you should have received when you came in. If you did not receive one when you came in, we do have those for you as you leave. And all of the information, again, regarding memorial contributions at Shiva is available on our website. The following individuals have been asked to serve as pallbearers: Peter Horowitz, Elisa Horowitz, Avi Horowitz, Jay Samuel, Marisol Taba, and Oksana Fedorovich. At this time, I would ask for everyone to please rise and stand in place as we escort the casket, the family, and the clergy from the sanctuary. For the pallbearers, you'll come forward off to my left for just a few moments as we rotate the casket, and then we'll follow the casket. Thank you.